Imagine waking up one morning with a memory so vivid you can almost smell the air. You can picture the faces, hear the voices, and feel the emotions attached to it. But then someone calmly tells you, that never happened. At first, you laugh it off. How could they know better than you? But later, doubt creeps in. What if they're right? What if one of the most personal moments in your life was nothing more than a carefully planted illusion? This is not just a scene from a science fiction movie. It's the chilling possibility behind the question, what if your memories could be hacked? We usually associate hacking with computers, phones, or social media accounts. We protect our passwords, install antivirus software, and worry about stolen data. But what if the most valuable account we own, the human mind, could also be accessed and manipulated? Unlike a stolen bank login or leaked email, hacked memories cut to the very heart of our identity. Our memories shape who we are. They influence every decision, fuel our emotions, and build the connections we share with others. If someone could alter or erase them, what would remain of us? Would we still be the same person, or just a shell programmed by someone else's design? To understand why this is such a threat, we need to clear up a common misconception. Memories are not like video recordings. They don't sit in our brains untouched, waiting to be replayed with perfect accuracy. Instead, every time you recall a memory, your brain actively reconstructs it. Imagine opening a document on your computer. Each time you read it, the file is editable, and when you close it, the brain saves the newest version. Over time, tiny changes creep in. A face becomes blurrier, a detail shifts, or an emotion intensifies. This process, known as memory reconsolidation, makes our memories incredibly flexible, but also alarmingly fragile. Researchers have shown how easy it is to plant false memories. In classic experiments, participants were convinced they had met Bugs Bunny at Disneyland, something impossible, since Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character. Others recalled being lost in a shopping mall as children, complete with feelings of fear and vivid images of strangers helping them, even though none of it ever happened. If a simple suggestion can alter memory, imagine what targeted technology could do. Scientists have already begun experimenting with optogenetics, using light to switch neurons on and off in mice, effectively turning specific memories on demand. Brain-computer interfaces are being developed that could one day record and even rewrite human thought. The science is moving faster than most of us realize. Let's bring this into a more everyday scenario. Picture having a heated argument with a close friend. Days later, you replay the conversation in your head, but something feels off. You remember a cruel sentence they supposedly said, and the memory stings each time it resurfaces. But what if they never said it? What if that fragment was somehow inserted into your recollection? Suddenly, trust fractures. A bond that took years to build might break because of a manipulated memory. This isn't just about science fiction dystopias. It's about the fragility of our closest human relationships if memories could be hacked like files. The implications stretch even further. Think about the justice system. Eyewitness testimony already has flaws because memory is imperfect. If memories could be hacked, how many innocent people could be condemned, or guilty ones freed, based on altered recollections? On a more personal level, think about trauma. For people haunted by painful memories, technology to erase or soften them could bring healing. But in the wrong hands, the same tool could be used to delete cherished experiences, rewrite loyalties, or even reshape political beliefs. What once belonged only to science fiction thrillers is inching closer to reality in research labs. And yet, there is a paradox here. The very science that reveals the dangers also offers hope. By studying how memories form, change, and persist, researchers are finding ways to strengthen authentic ones, resist manipulation, and perhaps build mental firewalls much like digital ones. Just as society adapted to the challenges of cybersecurity, we may be on the verge of developing neurosecurity to protect the most intimate system we have, the mind. This is where the story turns from fear to possibility. If we can understand how memory hacking might work, we can also learn how to defend against it. The first key solution lies in something surprisingly simple yet powerful: strengthening the brain's own natural defenses. Just as the body has an immune system to fight off infections, the mind has its own protective processes that help filter information, guard against manipulation, and reinforce what is real. Understanding and boosting these defenses is our first line of defense against the possibility of memory tampering. The brain already comes equipped with what neuroscientists call cognitive resilience. This is the ability to resist distortion, to separate reality from illusion, and to preserve a core sense of truth even when details blur. You may not remember exactly what you ate at a restaurant last week, but you know you didn't dine on the moon. That's resilience at work. By strengthening this natural system, we can create a stronger mental firewall against intrusion. So, how does this work in practice? One method is awareness and education. Studies have shown that people who understand how memory works, who know that memories are reconstructive and malleable, are less likely to fall for false ones. If you know your brain can be tricked, you become more cautious about accepting every recalled detail as absolute fact. It's like knowing that spam emails exist. Once you're aware of the possibility, you're less likely to click the dangerous link. Awareness doesn't eliminate risk, but it raises your defenses dramatically. Another defense is critical reflection. When we replay memories, it helps to pause and ask, does this memory make sense? Does it align with other evidence? Do others recall it the same way? This doesn't mean doubting yourself constantly, but it does mean developing the habit of cross-checking important recollections. Think of it as fact-checking your own brain. When a memory feels unusually vivid or emotionally charged, it might be more vulnerable to distortion. Pausing to reflect helps reduce the chance of manipulation taking hold. But beyond awareness and reflection, there is a biological layer of defense. Neuroscience has shown that emotionally strong memories, like the birth of a child, the day of a major achievement, or the shock of a traumatic event, are harder to overwrite. This is because they're encoded with more neural connections, reinforced by hormones like adrenaline. The stronger the memory trace, the more resistant it is to tampering. This means we can actually train our brains to make certain memories more resilient. How? Through repetition and reinforcement. Recalling, writing down, and sharing important memories strengthens their neural networks, making them less fragile. Families who tell stories at gatherings or keep photo albums are, in a way, running a natural backup system. They're making the most important moments harder to hack. There's also a fascinating discovery about sleep. During deep sleep, especially in the REM stage, the brain consolidates and strengthens memories. It acts like a nightly save button, moving fragile short-term memories into more stable long-term storage. Poor sleep makes the brain more vulnerable to confusion and memory errors, while healthy sleep patterns act as a shield. In a world where memory hacking might one day be possible, protecting your sleep becomes more than just a matter of health, it becomes a defense strategy. So what does all this mean for ordinary people today? It means that while we may not yet face literal memory hackers, we already live in a world where misinformation, manipulation, and suggestion threaten the accuracy of our recollections. Fake news, social media distortions, and persuasive advertising already exploit the weaknesses of memory reconsolidation. But by training awareness, practicing reflection, reinforcing important memories, and prioritizing sleep, we are actively building resilience. We are teaching our brains to stand firm when outside forces try to distort what we know to be true. This is empowering, because it shows that the first line of protection is not futuristic technology, it's within us. By caring for our brain's natural defenses, we are not just protecting memories, we are protecting our identity, our relationships, and our trust in the world. And that's a hopeful message. We are not powerless. Of course, natural defenses are only the beginning. They're like having strong locks on your doors. But what happens when someone invents tools to pick those locks? That's where science and technology step in. If our brain's natural defenses act as the first line of protection against memory hacking, the second key solution comes from technology itself. It may seem ironic that the same scientific advances capable of opening the door to manipulation could also provide the tools to keep our memories safe. Yet history has shown this pattern again and again. Every powerful technology, whether electricity, nuclear energy, or the internet, carries risks, but also solutions. The challenge is ensuring that the protective side stays one step ahead. When we think of technological safeguards, one idea stands out: neurosecurity. Just as cybersecurity protects computers from hackers, neurosecurity refers to a future field dedicated to protecting the brain from unwanted interference. Researchers are beginning to imagine ways that memories might one day be encrypted, making them unreadable without the right key. The concept is theoretical, but the logic is sound. If thoughts can be recorded through brain-computer interfaces, they can also be shielded. Encryption is what keeps your online banking information private. In the same way, one day it could keep your memories safe. But how would this actually work? Scientists envision implants or non-invasive neural devices that act as a firewall for the brain. These systems could monitor brain activity for unusual patterns that suggest outside tampering, like a suspicious signal trying to override a memory. If detected, The firewall could block or scramble the interference, much like antivirus software neutralizes a malicious file. Imagine a future where your brain has its own security app running in the background, silently guarding your most personal data. There are already early hints of this possibility. Brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, such as those being developed by companies like Neuralink and university labs worldwide, are designed to help people with paralysis control devices using thought alone. While their current focus is medical, the technology shows how closely we are learning to map and interpret brain activity. If we can learn to read signals, we can learn to protect them. In fact, some researchers suggest building security features into BCIs now, rather than waiting for hacking threats to become real. It's like adding locks to your house while it's being built, instead of waiting for a burglary after you've moved in. Another angle is authentication technology. Right now, we use passwords, fingerprints, or facial recognition to protect digital accounts. In the future, we may use brainwaves. Each person's neural activity has unique patterns, like a fingerprint for the mind. Some scientists call this brainprint authentication. If this becomes practical, it could allow people to lock certain memories or mental processes behind their unique neural signature, meaning no one else could access or alter them. The benefits of these developments would be enormous. Not only would they defend against malicious memory hacking, but they could also protect people from manipulation in other areas of life. Think of eyewitness testimony in court. If memories were authenticated or shielded by secure technology, the justice system could become more reliable. Or think of people suffering from trauma. With carefully designed neuroencryption, they might selectively soften painful memories without fear of someone else deleting their joys. Of course, these ideas are still futuristic, and they raise serious ethical questions. Who controls the encryption keys? Could governments demand access for security reasons? Could companies profit from memory locks the way they profit from online ads today? Technology has a way of racing ahead before laws and ethics catch up. That's why it's critical to have these conversations now, before neurosecurity shifts from theory to reality. But here's the hopeful part. Humans have always shown the ability to adapt. Just as we learn to manage online privacy with passwords, VPNs, and firewalls, we can learn to handle memory security. The more we understand about how memories can be manipulated, the better we can design systems that prevent it. We are not passive victims waiting for the future to unfold. We are active participants shaping it. So, what does this mean for you today? It means staying informed. The technology may not be here yet, but the foundations are being laid in research labs all over the world. By supporting ethical science, advocating for strong privacy protections, and learning about how your brain works, you're preparing for the day when memory protection becomes as important as protecting your phone. Natural defenses and technological safeguards give us strong tools, but the final piece of the puzzle is deeply personal. How we, as individuals, use daily habits and choices to guard the integrity of our minds. We've seen how the brain's natural defenses act as a first shield, and how future technology could provide sophisticated protection. But the third key solution is one that doesn't require laboratory or advanced devices. It's about the choices we make every day to strengthen our mental resilience. These habits, practiced consistently, create a kind of personal armor that makes it much harder for outside forces to manipulate what we remember. The first habit is mindful awareness. In today's world, our attention is constantly pulled in dozens of directions. Notifications, advertisements, endless streams of social media content. Each of these inputs is designed to influence what we notice and, eventually, what we remember. By practicing mindfulness, pausing to notice what we're experiencing in the moment, we gain more control over what enters our memory in the first place. It's like managing the door to your mental storage room. If you're selective about what you let in, it becomes harder for false or manipulative content to sneak past. Even a few minutes a day of mindful breathing, journaling, or reflection can sharpen this awareness. The second habit is critical consumption of information. Just as we watch what we eat to protect our physical health, we need to watch what we feed our minds. Our brains are constantly forming memories based on the information we absorb. If we allow ourselves to be flooded with unchecked claims, conspiracy theories, or emotionally charged distortions, we make our minds more vulnerable to false memories. On the other hand, when we cross-check facts, seek reliable sources, and balance perspectives, we strengthen the accuracy of the mental files we store. Over time, this creates a foundation of trust in our own judgment, making it far harder for manipulation to take root. Another habit is storytelling and connection. Memories are not just individual, they are social. When we share experiences with others, we reinforce them. Families telling stories around a dinner table, friends reminiscing about trips, or even writing down personal reflections all act as ways to back up memories. If one person's memory falters, others can confirm it. This shared validation acts like a multi-factor authentication system, making memories stronger and less vulnerable to distortion. In a world where hacking is possible, community becomes a form of defense. The fourth habit is physical and mental health care. It may sound unrelated, but brain health directly affects memory resilience. A well-nourished brain, supported by exercise, healthy foods, and proper sleep, consolidates memories more accurately and resists distortion better. Sleep, in particular, is like pressing the save button on the day's events. Meanwhile, stress and exhaustion weaken memory systems, making them more prone to errors or manipulation. Protecting your body is, in many ways, protecting your memories. Finally, perhaps the most powerful habit is actively shaping identity. When we anchor ourselves in values, beliefs, and purpose, it becomes harder for manipulated memories to uproot us. Imagine someone trying to convince you of a false event that goes against everything you know about yourself. If you have a strong sense of identity, clear principles and goals, it's far less likely you'll be swayed. In this sense, protecting memories is not just about holding on to events, but also about knowing who you are. When we put these habits together, mindfulness, critical thinking, storytelling, healthcare, and anchored identity, we create a resilient mental environment. It's not foolproof, but it makes manipulation far more difficult. And unlike advanced technology, these habits are available to everyone right now, no matter where they live or what resources they have. So what is the bigger picture? If memories could be hacked, humanity would face one of its greatest challenges. The risks touch every aspect of life: trust between loved ones, fairness and justice, the accuracy of history, and the foundation of democracy itself. But the solutions are also within reach. Our natural brain defenses, combined with advancing technology and daily personal practices, can create layers of protection that make memory hacking less of a nightmare and more of a challenge we can overcome. The inspiring truth is this: your memories are not just fragile data waiting to be corrupted. They are living parts of you, strengthened by awareness, connection, and choice. Yes, science shows they can be altered, but it also shows they can be protected. By taking steps today, caring for your brain, guarding what you take in, sharing your stories, you're already building resilience. So, if one day in the future someone asks, what if your memories could be hacked? You can answer with confidence: my memories are more than files, they are my identity, and I know how to protect them. And that's the message to carry forward. The power to protect our most precious treasure, the story of who we are, begins with us. Stay aware, stay strong, and never forget, you are the guardian of your own mind.